right, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good this morning. It is 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday, March 30th. I just got home an hour ago. Took a little while to get back from Seattle, but I did manage to sleep the majority of the flight, so I feel good. We'll do this thing today. We'll have a little fun. Hope everybody's great. Making sure everybody can hear me. Looks like it. All right. Say a lot of people here early in the chat today. Beautiful. All right. Let's check up on our standings after the first series of the year, as now where everybody's getting ready to play their second team starting today. All right, Jays and Yankees tied atop AL East 3-0, Orioles 2-1, Tampa 1-2, Boston 1-2. Boston dropped the last two to the Reds. In the Central, Detroit 2-1. Cleveland 2-2. They split after losing to Seattle yesterday. That was the game I was at. Twins 1-2. Royals 1-2. White Sox 0-3. Rangers 2-1. They won the series in Philly. Nimmo and McCutchen powered that one yesterday. Angels 2-2. Astros 2-2. Weird series there. Ended up being a split. Mariners 2-2. A's 0-3. They just kind of ran into the buzzsaw that is Skydome right now. Rogers Center, Skydome. Marlins 3-0. Walk-off home run. Owen Cassie, not sure anymore. But Marlins 3-0, sitting pretty. Mets 2-1. That's what most of we're going to get into today. It's going to be very Mets-centric off the rip. A couple Mets things to investigate. Nationals 2-1. Braves 2-1. Phillies 1-2. Brewers 3-0 with a plus 19 run differential. I see you, Josh. Yep, plus 19 for the Brewers already after smashing the White Sox to bits. Cardinals 2-1, Reds 2-1, Cubbies 1-2, Pirates 1-2, Dodgers 3-0, Padres 1-2, everybody else 0-3 in that division. All right. Appreciate all the love about Sunday night. We're having a good time. It was fun. I was freezing my butt off, but that's fine. All right, so we're going to do some Mets stuff first, and then we'll get into some other stuff. So first, I'm going to look at McLean. All right, McLean gets his first start of the year last year. I thought he looked incredible in the WBC, even though the team lost both of the games he started. Just no run support. But, like, this guy's ascending. You know, I think he's got the best breaking stuff in baseball, and I think he's just a fascinating pitcher given that he's so young still. Anyway, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Did get clipped for a home run by Brandon Lau. Let's look at the pitch mix before we get into the pitches. All right, 29% sinker, 20% four-seam, 17% sweeper, 14% changeup, 14% curveball, and 6% cutter. So a 6-pitch mix still. Everything looked fine in terms of velocity. Average almost 97 on his four-seam. In terms of whiffs, I mean, the curveball continues to be insane. 80% whiff yesterday. Changeup, 67% whiff. None on the sweeper, but I don't know. I from what I saw, I got a little glimpse at it. I know that he had a little hard time locating a sweeper early in the game, but we'll see. What else we got? Movement-wise, I mean, it's all new, so everything's the same. All right, let's just get into it. Nolan McLean's first start of the year versus the Pirates. Whoop, wrong tab there. All right, Pittsburgh and the Metropolitanos. All right, so he starts off the game with a walk. Very odd for him. Obviously, he's got good command. He was missing arm side pretty consistently. It's the same thing Skeens was doing the other day.
98 and 99, and we saw a lot of that in the WBC.
Remember, by the time we
definitely looks a little juiced up. But why? But that's okay. I don't have a problem with being juiced up. But, you know, I don't know. First thing I see here is this sinker's running like crazy. 17 inches. I'm just not quite getting through the ball. Throwing it a little bit early in his delivery just opened the game here, and I think that's why he got in a little bit of trouble. Just Kind of 4-ish of the same type of misses to that first batter. All right, here's Lau.
McLean in his 8th.
Same miss again. Here's the sweeper. Now, one thing that we noted last year when watching McLean is the sweeper really is his strike pitch. That's the pitch that he tries to use for a strike. And this is when I knew he was a little off to start off the game yesterday, because he tries to go to it on 1-0 and 2-0 and misses both times. I mean, the pitch is still vicious. These have a little bit more drop than he had last year. You know, he wants the sweeper to be a little bit not like the curveball, a little more flat across the zone, but opened the game without his great command. There's a good fastball. And really on both of the last two, he really stuck his nose in there. What I mean by that is he didn't pull off early. He didn't try to create anything early. He really just follows through. He stays on the target. Look at how he finishes that. He was committed to making sure he drove his hand right through the glove there. So that was a good adjustment finally here on pitch, I don't know, 10-ish or so. And then 3-2 sweeper. And once again, he misses. So sweeper is his strike pitch, and it's just a little bizarre that he started off the game with 2 walks. Obviously, he's got crazy movement. It's going to happen. Everybody's going to come out not sharp sometimes. I think the biggest thing is just he had some drop on his sweeper, which to me makes me think like the shape isn't perfectly dialed. Because if this ball stays flat across the zone, it might be strikes, but they have a little bit of drop to them. All right, so 2 walks to lead off the game. Now he's got to go immediately into battle mode. Reynolds. That's the first fastball that he didn't leak to his arm side, so that was good. Here's a sweeper again. Same miss again. And I got to wonder, is it a little bit of a drop situation? Like, the drop's not normal, right? Let me go look at Nolan from last year real quick. So he averaged 0.2 and -17 last year. So basically 0. These are all coming in negative so far in this game. So anyway, that's what I thought. But I wanted to confirm that. All right, there's a fastball. This is a good challenge by Terens. Gets the strike. This is a good use of the early challenge. Like, your pitcher's struggling a little bit out there, but you know you have a strike. It's worth the risk right here. You can't afford to give up a crooked number in this inning. 1 run doesn't kill you, but you obviously don't want to give up 2 or 3. This completely changes the entire at-bat, gets him to 1-2. And then he goes to finally rip that curveball. And, it's the best curveball in the world. -19.4, -15.9 with 3,200 spin. This ball is right down the middle, basically, right in the crushable zone, but it has so much more drop and so much more spin than other guys' breaking balls that Reynolds just swings right over it. So, like, his stuff is so incredible that he's always going to have an answer to the test. It's just a matter of the fundamentals, like getting ahead in the count, making good choices, but he's always going to have an answer to the test. Nothing has changed in that regard. All right. Here's O'Hearn. Now, I do think, and you see the strategy, obviously, of stacking lefties against him. He's got the weapons to get lefties out, but versus righties, like, they're basically doomed. There's the first sweeper. He lands for a strike. Same shape, but this one caught the bottom of the zone. And the lefties are a little bit less doomed because he has to, like, really locate. Like, for example, a lot of backdoor action. And those pitches, if you sit on them, are hittable. Like, this isn't a good piece of contact, but at least it's not an unhittable pitch either, It's up and away, it's a backdoor. Typically, you get a swing over or a pop-up here, and he gets weird contact, but sometimes weird contact results in a hit. And that's how the Padres get that first run. So, walk, strikeout, blooper. Now we finally get a righty. Missed his arm side with that sinker again. And just didn't really have a great feel in this first inning. But what I'd like about it is he was able to, well, that was a generous call, but he was able to more or less, recapture it after this.
There's a strike.
Nice pitch there.
2-2 coming to Triolo.
Vicious curveball gets put in play, floated over to the right. Benj is over there. I don't know why, but sometimes, like, when Benj plays the outfield and he goes after a ball, I keep thinking it's McNeil. I know it's not, but I keep thinking it's Jeff. All right, so there's 2 outs, and then he gets a 1 pitch out here, which was huge because this inning was starting to get long. And it was really nice that he was able to get Horowitz to slice this ball out to left. So again, he minimizes the damage. It's one run. It's not a big deal. The stuff still looks great. You know, everybody's going to go out there sometimes and throw balls off the rip, but I thought he did a nice job there. All right, we got a couple things here in the comments. Ayo, did you hear McLean's comments? He needs to find his lane sooner. It took too long, he said. Yeah, I mean, you know, the ultimate level of pitching is the one pitch adjustment. You know, you can fix it after one pitch. It looks like it took him a handful of pitches today, so I would agree with his assessment overall, but again, sometimes it's I never forget how hard this game is. Sometimes you go out there and you just don't have your feel, and what's impressive to me is that he still ended up posting a pretty good start when he came out of the gate with no feel. Could his front shoulder have been flying open too early? Yeah, I mean, that's generally the idea, but a lot of it is just, for me, it's like, the concept is like how early you use your energy in your delivery. Like, are you putting the hammer down too early? Because when you try to create it too early, that usually causes the shoulder flare. So sometimes it's more of an energy thing. And like the shoulder pulling out early is like what you see, and that is factually correct. But, you know, you try to think about the reasoning, I guess. Is sweeper the hardest pitch to control? No, I think sweeper's one of the easiest pitches to control, personally. You know it's going to go left. You know, I mean, it's a fairly simple grip. There's a reason why it's normally his strike pitch. He just didn't have a feel for it in the early going. And also you can see that the ball had a little more drop to it than usual. Blevin said it took 3 innings for McLean to adjust. Relievers have 3 pitches to adjust. McLean needed to adjust sooner. Yes, he did, and he said that. He said as much. So anyway, he ends up adjusting though. Are the fundamentals you mentioned the sort of skills McLean will pick up over time? So here's the thing: he already has them. He's just making physical errors. These aren't so much mental errors as they're just he just had a tough first inning. All right, on to the second inning. First pitch, sinker, strike. Gonna double up on that. I like his sinker a lot. Of his 2 fastballs, it's by far the better offering. I mean, it's super nasty. Great movement, great velocity, tons of drop. 4-seam, he's got great velocity. He doesn't have anything spectacular to his shape. You know, it's nice that he has it in his bag, and I think he knows how to utilize it at times when he tries to climb. This is his crazy pitch, the curveball, and he tries to go to it here 0-2. It's just like there's very few people in the world that can throw a curveball like him. Then there's a backdoor sinker for the freeze. Beautiful pitch. Utilizes that miss of the curveball away to kind of set up the backdoor freeze. And also, this pitch's metric is insane. 20 inches of run and only 2 inches of vert. Makes that a pretty gnarly sinker. Great catch by Terenza as well. All right, now 1 pitch out. That right on right first pitch sinker middle in. We were talking about it with Cease yesterday. McLean does the same thing. All right, sinker in, ball 1. Here's Mangum. They're picking sinker with him at times because his bat path is very choppy. They think they can get him to beat something in the ground. So then he just went back and forth. He went sinker, 4-seam sinker. Overcooked both of these sinkers to the left out of the hand. Usually when this happens, this is the same deal, Carl. You pull out a little early, and your hand travels a little far, and then you yank the pitch. Most command issues can be fixed by not pulling that shoulder out too early. Like, one of my main cues I would always think about is like, stay sideways with my torso as long as possible. Of course you're going to rotate. You have to rotate, but like try to delay it just a little bit to let your hand travel and make sure it gets into the right spot. So that's what he tries to do with this 4-seam. He tries to ride it up on guys after he sets the pace with some stuff that breaks down. But Mangum's a tough guy to punch out with a fastball. Then he comes back and gets him with a very weird kick change. This is just a weird pitch because I think he thinks it's a ball out of hand and then he emergency hacks. But a dominant second inning, and we're on to the third. There's that sweeper. So you can see he's definitely fixed his issues. Now he's in the strike zone. Weird changeup there. 0-2.
7 years
Curveball
old.
ball.
Came up as a shortstop.
Curveball ball.
Center field.
And then sinker. They're going to go for the front door again.
Mixed results. Ground ball toward the
Happy
middle.
accident mix away. There's Semien. Little one-hopper, good play by Beatty. I didn't realize Beatty was getting some run at first yesterday. I didn't even notice that. Here's Brandon Lau, sinker. So we talked a little bit on the broadcast on opening day
Very nice.
that Brandon Lau wants to pull everything in the air, not unlike a lot of other hitters. So McLean's trying to combat that. He goes sinker away first pitch. That fastball was a little center cut, but you can beat him with velocity sometimes.
Unbelievable.
And even the curveball, they're set up away. Like the whole idea with Lau is don't give him a pitch that he can easily pull in the air because that's what he's great at. See, he just does it right there, and there's the home run. Fastball. Plus, when he's dialed, he can hit really hard pitches and really slow pitches. This pitch doesn't get high enough. And again, he doesn't have enough of a four seam. This is what, 14 inches of induced vertical break? So that's like a little bit below average, probably. It looks very ho-hum in terms of ride. So even though it's pretty good velocity, 95.8, if he doesn't get this to the very, very top rail, which he doesn't quite get it there, it becomes hittable. Lau's hot right now. What's he do? Hits a pull side fly ball, home run. What's the data on that? 103.4 at 34. So, you know, he's had a great opening series. Actually, a lot of the guys that the Pirates acquired have had really good series. O'Hearn, as well as Lau, and they brought those guys in to rake. So that's why they're on the team, and that's a good sign for the Pirates, even though they lost the series. Here's O'Hearn, first pitch, change up. So he rolls from here on out. No more runs from here on out. So let's watch the man get into a little bit of a rhythm here. Sinker ball, change up.
That's about where he lived last year.
Gets the really weird swing on a very weird changeup. You can tell that he's gone to the kick changeup full time because the metric kick changeups don't have as much of this H break. It's only 8.4 here. So normally, like you look at his sinker can go out to like 20. So usually the changeup would follow suit if you're throwing it with just the same grip but with different fingers, which is what most guys are taught to do. But when you introduce the kick, you create more drop. That's how he's in the negatives of drop, but also not as much run. But to me, this is a kind of a tougher pitch to hit because it has more of a straight down feel. And you can see the spin on it's a little wonky, and it just fools O'Hearn into swinging at a bad pitch. So that goes to 2-2. Tries that changeup again. Oddly, not a great feel for the changeup either in this game. So I would say he didn't really have his best feel for sweeper or changeup in this game. And yet he still posted a pretty decent start either way. There's the sinker. Now I don't recommend this pitch right on left a lot, like when you're forced to be in the strike zone. Like this was probably the first pitch choice that I don't really agree with. I feel like that's just not a good pitch to O'Hearn in this spot. All right, on to the next. Triolo. First pitch, four-seam ball. I will say he's becoming pretty unpredictable. Pretty hard to guess with him. Then he hits him in the legs, so he didn't get in rhythm yet. Did not get in rhythm yet, but it's coming. I know it's coming soon because he doesn't give up anything else. All right, sinker for a strike there. Don't like that pitch call either. So it looks like at this point, him and Luis were just trying to find pitches he could locate, and they felt like sinker. Here's curveball. Vicious, and he punches his way out of the third. All right, to the fourth. Perfect first pitch sinker there. Almost hits him. See, the sweeper, he just did not have his sweeper feel in this game. Here's the first cutter we've seen. Actually, don't really love that pitch either. Come on, get the sweeper. Get your hand through it. There you go. He was just leaving his hand behind on the sweeper for a while. Like, basically, you go to throw, and instead of getting your hand to the release point, you're getting it back here. But this time, he gets the hand out front, gets it where it needs to go. Lets the grip do the work. I mean, it's a pretty nasty pitch. He is getting way more drop on his sweeper, though, in this start than he typically does, which could be part of the issue. So there could be something with his grip that just feels a little off, which is throwing him off on release point.
Using his hand.
Can of corn to Mr. Lubob.
So Monday morning quarterbacking.
And now Mangum. 4-seam. Curveball.
Well, we do too.
Ooh, nice backdoor curveball. And then he's going to punch him with the changeup. So this is a pretty unfair 3-pitch punch out, huh? Oh! That's the nastiest pitch he's thrown of the day so far. What do we got on this? Negative 7.5. Oh, when it kicks, it kicks. Holy shit. This pitch is insane. That's ridiculous. That's like every bit as good as the Ghost Fork. I mean, it comes out medium height. You have to swing. Oh, I think Clay Holmes probably have been helping him with this, but my God. All right, next up. Oh, another unbelievable changeup back-to-back. So now he finds the feel for the changeup. He's going to triple up. Pulled that one just a touch. Cutter. O'Neal Cruz with a brutal challenge. A lot of emotional challenges by pitchers or batters. The catchers seem to be the ones.
Challenge here from Torrens. No, I think it's from the hitter. The hitter.
I like the animation. And then the crowd's like, "Oh, you idiot!" All right, curveball. Okay, that might have been the nastiest pitch of the day. That was filthy. I mean, this almost spins him around. This ball would have wrapped around him. It has so much break. McLean's finished too. Like, he's got some serious swag with his finishes. Look at the leg swing here. All right, next up, Lau again. Change up ball. He's not going to let him pull a fly ball. You can't let him do it again. Change up, change up. Ooh, cutter. I don't like this pitch either. Hopefully he locates it. Which he does, But still a hit. Still a hit, though. Good job by B. Lau. All right, next up, Reynolds. Sweeper ball. Same misses he's been making. Hasn't really been able to consistently lock in the sweeper the whole game. Sinker up ball, so 3-0 count.
About the same today.
Oh, brutal call there. 3-1 cutter. I'm not liking some of these pitch calls in the second half of the game. I know it worked out. But a 3-1 cutter to Reynolds is asking for damage. Curveball. Gets the call, and he doesn't challenge. He walked twice in this at-bat, so very fortunate that Reynolds didn't have the cojones to challenge here. Got to give credit to Torrens, I guess, for the frame.
Of the challenge system
And then he'll finish out his outing with this one with O'Hearn. First pitch, change-up ball. Second pitch, 4-seam down. Strike. I mean, he's getting some very generous calls. Ooh! Did you see that? O'Hearn said, "I'm going to challenge." No, I'm not going to challenge. What's that about? A little gun shy. You know, in our manager meeting yesterday with Stephen Vogt, he was saying that he wants guys to challenge. He wants guys to fail because he doesn't want to like take it away from them. He's like, everybody's so worried about being a good teammate all the time that sometimes they don't challenge. And there's a devastating curveball. So I think he lets out a huge release here, and we'll watch that in a second. But I think it's the result of he just really didn't have his best command today. Sweeper in particular. Changeup kind of came and went when he had it. It was gross. Sinker command kind of came and went. But anyway, when you have this pitch, you're always one pitch away from devastation on any hitter. And that's just ridiculously nasty. And let's watch them go crazy. All right, so he hung in there. I mean, one thing I love about watching McLean is this guy competes his ass off. Like, he really, really does. He really, really competes his ass off. So, good first start. Didn't really have it and still put up a quality out and give the team a chance to win. I I was curious to watch exactly how he righted the ship there, but it's mostly just he's so nasty. I mean, he has a pretty good idea of what to do too, but man, like that changeup that he threw, the negative 7.5 vert, you pair that with the fact that he got the best breaking pitches in the league and he throws hard, it's like he's up there in stuff. Like of all starters, he's got to be in the top 7, you know? I've seen a bunch of guys who come in, needs to be worked on. It's just the shoulder pulling out early. Yeah, a lot of times it is. Let's see here. The contrast in middle infield defense and corner defense is hilarious. It only took me 3 games to hate Brandon Lau. In these moments, how does the mind start to spiral? And what does a pitcher have to say to himself to get out of the funk? Good question here, Spectre. It's all about your positive self-talk. You have to live in the world that you create in your mind, right? So you're out there, and yeah, it might seem like things are falling apart, but you have to know, like, I've been here before, and that's like a big part of the one-pitch adjustments. Like, use your misses to your advantage. Figure out what to do on the next pitch. Be convicted with your plan, and keep your thoughts simple. Don't let them linger to consequences and earned runs and letting the team down and the crowd or like any of that. You have to kind of like just stay in your very simple mindset of next pitch, what lane do I have to get in, and then be convicted, be 100% all in on that. That is the key. Oh, good afternoon from London, Maya. By the way, the reason Benj looks like McNeil in the outfield is because they look at the same angle when tracking the ball. They do look the same. That's what I saw. Encouraging sign to see him overcome a couple tough innings. Is it bad as a Blue Jays fan to be glad Bo is getting booed? Maybe a little petty, but I get it. I don't understand why Mets fans are booing. I mean, look, the booing is stupid and dumb, but it's part of the reality. So as a player, you just have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, I think, a little bit. All right, let me keep going here. I kind of hate Terren's pitch calling when guys have more than 3 pitches. I think Alvey would have been able to find McLean good stuff faster. I've never noticed a deficiency in Terren's pitch calling, but Alvey certainly is pretty creative back there at times. I don't know. I just thought they defaulted to some dangerous pitches and hitters counts, which I don't love. Hold on. When did you get the most emotional off the mound, like to go crazy? I didn't really do it too often. There's a couple clips, but not a whole much. Not a whole much. There's more stuff I want to watch here. The next thing I want to watch is Bo Bichette's at-bats for the entire series, because I'm just curious what's going on. He's got too many strikeouts. He's too good of a hitter. He's getting booed. I don't think he's going to be a great third baseman at this point, but like, what's going on with the at-bats? I saw a request for this in my comments as well, so I'm more than happy to oblige. And listen, it's only 3 games. This guy's going to rake. This is what he does. He hits. But let's see what's cooking right now with Bo. You know, let's just watch all of his at-bats and see what's cooking. All right, first at-bat of the season versus Skeens. Sinker for a strike. Sinker again. A lot of people try to work early count sinker with Bo. Big part of that reason is that huge leg kick. If you have a good sinker, you feel like you can beat him to the spot in and kind of jam him. Now, one thing that Mets fans will learn to appreciate about Bo over time as a hitter is the two swings. He's got the leg kick for his A swing pre-2 strikes, and then he's got the foot down with 2 strikes, which allows him to basically make contact with everything, even if a pitch is about to freaking break your hand. I don't know what happens here, and there's a couple pitches he swings at on, off the plate in this series, but there's a foul ball, and then he actually ends up getting the job done here with a sac fly to right on a changeup down in from Skeens. This is a good piece of hitting. I mean, he had first and third, no outs. They need to get a run back here. He needed to put the ball in play, preferably in the air, not to into a double play. So I think that was a successful first at-bat for Bo, even though he fell behind 0-2. All right, next at-bat, Yohan Ramirez. Another guy with nasty stuff, but he's a little bit of a scary matchup at times because he doesn't really know where the ball's going, and he's got a lot of pitches, but a lot of just effectively wild qualities to his pitching. So tough matchup. Sinker, sweeper, sweeper. Here comes the curveball. Good take. And then he ends up striking out on a sweeper. I think it's high one, right? Yeah, I mean, this is just a little bit of a function of who Bo is as a hitter. Sometimes he's going to swing at a really bad pitch and a really abnormal pitch that most people would take. He does have a pretty high chase rate. He just has a great contact rate on it. But this pitch is impossible to hit. He thinks he can hit everything, and that pitch is just impossible to hit. So, all right, there's the first strikeout. Just sort of a bad swing decision there. All right, Mason Montgomery. So lefty, upper 90s, and a curveball. First pitch in, super late on that. So if you're an opposing pitcher, you definitely see how you can feel like you can get in there early in the at-bat. All right, fastball again. Pitch he usually hits, but he swings and misses. And now he's going to strike out. So 3 heaters in a row. Second time he chases way above the zone. This is his one weakness as a hitter, is he doesn't control the zone as well as you would expect. He's just so good with his bat to ball skills. But I mean, this is 99 at your eyes. It's a pretty hard pitch to hit. All right, here's the really long at bat versus Matson. So Matson is a ride fastball guy. He's gonna, my bad. He's gonna come at you with fastball, 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 fastball. That's what he does here to Bo. And Bo's in survival mode for most of this at bat. But it is crazy how often he chases outside the zone in this at bat. Like even that, not seeing the ball up, like thinking he can get to balls up and in, which are really hard to get to. This is a 2-1 pitch, bases loaded. I know he's probably auto swinging here, but something tells me his timing's just off at the plate, and therefore he's making some tough decisions. And then here comes the foul ball fest. I mean, that pitch almost hits him, hits it foul. And this is like what he typically is great at, is just being annoying, putting the ball in play, shooting you the other way, not letting you get that third pitch by you. And even though he doesn't get the job done here, this went a long way to breaking Matson in this game, and it was a big part of why the Mets, I think, were able to tack on more after this. Still a quality at bat. It's just crazy because he could have easily had taken ball 3 and ball 4 here at some point.
Still 2-2.
It's insane how he just spraying everything foul, hitting everything right out of the catcher's mitt. Let's see what it looks like from the side, like how deep he's catching these balls. You see how he just keeps the foot planted in the ground? Like, to me, this is a great quality. All right, here's a swinging strike. This is the one that gets him, and it's that same thing. It's that high inside slider. So in this game, he strikes out 3 times, all on pitches way above the zone. Maybe just trying to do a bit too much in his Mets debut. It's the only thing I can really think of, or he's just not seeing the ball very well. No big deal. And then a 1-pitch out versus Soto here. Swinging off the plate in. So, if anything, he's just gotten in trouble being too aggressive in game 1. All right, game 2. Here's game 2. Mitch Keller. And Mitch Keller threw pretty well.
Who had about the best 0 for 4 that you can have in your first game for a new team. On
Sinker ball.
Yes. Marathon. That's what he does.
I saw a Mets fan say they could acquire Chandler Simpson and he would become slow. God, the negativity is just, it's just so obnoxious. Yeah, he's not off to a good start at all, but he's not a bust yet. I mean, it's crazy. At least here he didn't chase as much, but I guess he's seen the ball decent away from him. And then he strikes out again with a breaking ball above the zone. Like, these are like technically bad pitches. They should all be easy takes. He just doesn't take a lot. But look at that. He struck out on the same pitch, basically, well, the same location 4 times in a row. Same pitch 3 out of 4. Sweeper away, and then a sinker in. This is the approach I used against him. But he didn't get that one in, and he's able to finally keep one fair and slice it to right. This type of swing, the slice line drive to the opposite field, is a batting average swing. You're going to get a ton of hits like that. So that looks more like him, and that was a good swing. All right, one pitch out here. Same swing again. This could easily be a double in the corner, run-scoring RBI double in the corner. Instead, it just happens to go right to the first baseman, so I'm not going to be upset about that. All right, next at-bat for Soto. He got jammed on a fastball by him in Game 1. Fastball up ball. Slider down, definitely on fastball timing, but that's okay. I don't mind taking a shot here. Man, he just gets undressed by this sweeper. I don't know, man. He's always been an aggressive hitter. He's a little extra aggressive to start this season from what I'm seeing. And then he's going to strike out on this sweeper. That's just a really good location, but he's not laying off. Like, he's trying to hit everything. All right, 10th inning versus Barco. Slider ball, easily could have let that hit you in the shin. That would have been a run. Slider again. Back door, okay. And then he gets out on a slider. So something about his bat path also at this exact moment, he's slicing everything. It's like in golf when you go to get inside the ball and you don't get the face back square and you kind of lag a little bit. It's almost like he has the ball a little back in his stance and he's keeping his face open. So even though he feels like he's on it, every ball is immediately hitting the face or the barrel of the bat and it's sliding off that way. So he can adjust that pretty easily by just getting in the cage and pulling a few balls. You know, changing his cueing up just a little bit, and that should reset his, like, kind of meter a little bit. So that was Game 2. The strikeout was on the same thing. He did hit 2 balls pretty well to the opposite field, low line drives, which I don't hate, but clearly that's just kind of a product. That's kind of just a product of where his swing's at the moment. All right, Game 3. This was yesterday. Then we'll be done with Bichette. Game 3, he has a tough day. Moldinsky, which I know that's not how you pronounce his name. I heard Gary Cohen saying a much different name, but I lost it, so I'm sorry, buddy. Carmen.
You know where he grew up?
Anyway, sinker, 1-1, sinker again. So that was a good pitch to swing at. It's so crazy. You'll swing at all the pitches above the zone, but you'll take this one. 3 sinkers in a row, all in the same lane. This one leaks middle, and he doesn't fire. So it makes you wonder what he's looking for. All right, 4-seam up off of that. Non-competitive. Sinker. Back to the sinker. He's late. He's just late. I mean, it's that same swing I was just describing. You see how he comes in, he's catching it late, and he's just slicing off everything? I think he's just late. All right, 4-seam up. Yep, and then he gets beat upstairs again. So every strikeout has been upstairs except for the Soto back footer. Curveball strike. Back to that sinker again. Another good pitch to hit, but he's inside it again. He'll get this cleaned up quick, guys. He'll get this one cleaned up quick. I'm not worried about Bo at all. It's just his swing's a little off. And then he's going after pitches that he can't really touch that are above the zone. Those two things, but it's so early. I can't really, like, totally panic. Now I think I can panic a little bit at third base, his defense. That hasn't looked great in my mind. But he'll get his swing straightened out. It's just another chase. Off the plate away. All right, now he's got Johan again, Johan Ramirez. Sinker strike. Also, you notice everybody's getting ahead of him pretty quickly. So you got to tip your cap to the opposing pitchers at least for the most part, putting him in a defensive situation. That's a pitch that he can usually crush, the sweeper, but he's completely off timing on that too. They're going to try that 4-seam up again. Makes contact with it, but it's weak. All right, now he gets Montgomery. Second time seeing him. Second and third, 2 outs. Tries to ambush. Auto swings out a curveball in the dirt. Curveball again. Now Montgomery threw him 3 fastballs that first at bat. Now he goes curveball, curveball. So good switch up by Montgomery here. Now he's going to go to the 4-seam up. And he beats him with 100. Pretty good sequence right there by Montgomery, taking advantage of the aggressiveness of Bichette there, without a doubt. All right, last at bat, Urquidy. This ended the series, and the Boo Birds came out, right? Well, this was the second out in the 10th. Sinker, and then another sinker. It's the first ball he's pulled. So I know he gets out, and it's a rollover, and it's exactly what you want to do if you're the pitcher. But I'm actually encouraged that he pulled it and didn't get inside a ball for one time. For one time, he hit the outside of the ball here, at least.
And he grounds one to short. Soto advances. Triolo makes the throw to first for the second out.
All right, so that's it on our search for Bichette. It's very weird because his game is basically bat to ball, not striking out. See the K percentage last year only at 14.5%. But you look at that whiff percentage, 35.2%. I mean chase percentage. He swings at everything. He just typically makes contact with everything, and he ran into an issue this time where he swung at everything, but he didn't make as much contact outside of the zone, particularly above the zone. But I do think something's up a little bit with his swing in terms of the path. They'll fix that really quickly. They can drill that in the cage. And ultimately, he's too good to be having a 138 OPS. I know it's 3 games, but everybody should realize it's 3 games and actually think it'll be good for the boys and for him in particular to get out on the road for a little bit, get into his routine on the road, get settled, play in another venue for a little bit, and then kind of circle back around. So I'm not terribly worried about him hitting. I am worried about him at third. And what will happen if they come to him and they tell him they want to pull the plug on him at third and they want to start playing Beatty at third and DHing him? Because that's a nightmare scenario for a 28-year-old who wants to go back into free agency. If you see what happens to DHs that don't rake, and even if they do rake, sometimes they have trouble takes a while to get the deals like Pete. So if I'm him, I need to be playing defense. I need to be playing defense. I liked his reaction to being booed, didn't get defensive and took it well. So that's one advantage of kind of being around the big leagues your whole life and kind of knowing what it's all about. It's not like Toronto. Everybody wants to give Toronto fans all this credit for being nice Canadians, but they'll boo your ass too. And, I'm sure they got on Bo at times as well. That's a huge market that cares a lot as well. So he knows how to handle this. I'm not worried about that part of it. He'll figure it out. Slider, 4-seam, tunneling, pickup issues, the high off speeds, all his swings are under. He just shouldn't be swinging at those pitches. That's the thing. He just shouldn't swing at those pitches. He's had a bat in his hand and major leaguers in his ear since he could walk. He can make the swing adjustments. Yes, he will totally make the swing adjustments. He will. How much will it hurt the Mets' reputation in the free agent market? I don't think it will matter much, Maya. I think money talks either way, and they're trying to win ball games. But I think for Bo, he has to resist it as hard as he can. It's just so far, I'm not a fan of how much he's had to wind up to throw to first. To me, that's the biggest red flag. I'm not really worried about his range or his hands. It just seems like he's winding up to gun it to first all the time. And it's not easy for him. There's a lot that can go wrong when you wind up like that. They boo Leafs players more. Okay, yeah, well, there's even higher expectations probably in hockey, considering, that's their #1 sport in Canada, right? Morning, folks. It's a good day to be a Jays fan. Also, I'm honestly not sure we'd have booed Bo much at Rogers Center. I'm sure you got on him at some point, right? I mean, maybe it's not quite New York levels. My point is, he's been in the dumps before in the big leagues. That's all. He's been in the dumps. He can do it. I wonder if the work at third is taking something away from his work at the plate. Well, these are all things that are fair to wonder about. Let's just give him a little time. The kid's bound to get hot pretty quick. All right, now the third thing I wanted to check in on this game was I want to check in on my friend Sean Manaea, who finally got to pitch. I know the velocity was down, right? I'm assuming. Yeah, 88.7 on the 4-seam, 89.1 on the sinker. I just, the narrative around Sean is that he's healthy, but the velo's down, and the velo will come, and the velo will make the difference. He did have great shape on his sinker, 3 and 19. I love that. 4-seam, 11 and 14. Sweeper, 5 and 16. That's great. Changeup, -1 and 17. So the shapes are there. He just needs the velo. And I want to watch Sean pitch a little bit because he's an important piece for the Mets. Right now, they're kind of stashing him in the bullpen. Oh, it's in here. Never mind. But, you know, I just got to get a read on his health. You know, I got to watch it a little bit. So I'm sorry we're being so Mets-centric, everybody else in here, but these are 3 things from the game yesterday that I really didn't get to watch much because I was getting ready for our Sunday night game. And, you know, I just wanted to take a peek at how Sean looked here. As they put him in a leveraged spot here, I know Mendoza caught a lot of flack online already for the bullpen usage, but I actually think he did the right thing yesterday. You gotta sometimes, you know, you lose the battle, but you win the war. Doesn't make sense to chase that game as hard as they wanted, as hard as the fans maybe wanted them to yesterday. At the end of the day, they lost the game because they scored 2 runs. They scored 2 runs. Sometimes you need your offense to outperform the other offense. That ball was smacked, huh? 104-7. So leadoff hit from O'Neal Cruz. Double pickoff attempts. So they tried to get him in the good lane here. They went lefty-lefty, Cruz and Lau. No matter what, Manaea is going to be effective left on left. He's a tough angle, so this is a smart way to utilize him if you're not going to start him. You know, if you're going to pitch him in leverage, just match him up properly. Yeah, I mean, you see the swing there by Lau, no shot. Lau is very uncomfortable left on left. Gets it off the end. Good play by Semien. Semien's such a good second baseman. Mets fans are going to like watching him play second. He plays a pro second base. All right, so man on third, 1 out. Here's Reynolds. Called strike down. I mean, the velo is pretty low. There's no way around it. 87, 88. I mean, I was embarrassed to throw 87, 88 in the WBC, and you know, I know that that's not my. I know that his game is different than mine. That's what makes Sean special, is that he can dominate with low velocity. I mean, he threw no hitters at 90, 91, but I'd like to see him get to 90, 91, or I'm just going to continue to worry about his health a little bit and whether they're going to give him chances. But there's a 3-pitch punchy, very nice. Oh, Jerry Blevins was in the studio yesterday. I love Jerry. All right. Another left-on-left matchup here with O'Hearn. Gets a little sword out of him there. Yeah, Semien is awesome defensively. You know what's crazy is he used to suck. And then Ron Washington got him right and made him into a Gold Glover. And I love players who work their tails off and figure it out. Marcus is one of those guys. Marcus turned himself into a, what is it, $200 million contract player? He did that. He turned himself into that. So to me, that's like such a cool story. All right, 3-2 sweeper for the strikeout. You see, his stuff's still going to play left on left really well. O'Hearn and Lau, those are 2 guys that killed the Mets. He neutralized them really well right there. Here's Triolo. But I do think that his ceiling is, you know, it's such a simplistic thing to say. And especially coming from me, I'm not a big velocity, you know, I don't have a big fetish for velocity like everybody else seems to. But to me, it's like, it is the big deal for Sean. If he can just be 91 and shit, anything above that, then you're really cooking with gas. Like when he was rolling for us in 24, he's like 93, 94, 95. He's completely unhittable at that speed with his angle and everything else that he's doing out there. But when you're throwing at this speed, he has to locate a little more, and that's not really his game. His game is more just get in his lanes and throw the crap out of it and let the angles play. But, you know, I'm encouraged by the shape of his pitches. Like, this is a nasty shape, -17, -1.5. It's just still the velocity, and I just got to wonder how he's feeling. I haven't talked to Sean in a while, but I just wonder how he's feeling. All right, here is Gonzo. Swing and miss. You can see, like, up in the zone, even at 89, his fastball plays. There's a ground ball to Marcus, to Francisco, and that's it. So he gets through 2 innings. It wasn't the cleanest 2 innings. Gave up a hit, 2 walks, but overall collected a bunch of outs. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Carlos and the Mets manage Manaea and the rest of the bullpen, especially here in the early going when the starters aren't necessarily going deep. On the good signs, I think Brazoban has looked outstanding so far. Weaver's looked pretty good. Devon's looked pretty good. Raley's looked on point. We haven't even seen Clay Holmes yet out of the rotation. So the Mets have a lot of good things going for them. I know they didn't sweep the series, but, you know, the best teams that you're on in the regular season, you just try to win every series, and then obviously you go for the sweep if you can get it. But the idea is to win every series. If you win every series, you will be in playoff contention. You will be where you need to be. you will be achieving what you want to achieve. So ultimately, that's what I see from the Mets. Probably not going to dig any more into the Mets, and we'll go a different direction now. But let me get in the chat here for a minute. Brazaban has been fantastic. He's coming into his own, which is a little sad for him in a way because he's 37 and he didn't get to the big leagues till he was 32. And so he's never going to have big free agent money in his life, even though he's become a pretty elite pitcher. So it kind of sucks. It took him so long to get over here. But I'm happy nevertheless that he's coming into his own, because it's one of the best feelings in the game is when you know that you're at the peak of your powers. Did Sean put up a fuss about moving to the pen? He didn't, and he's not one to put up a fuss. He said it's not what he wants, but he's not going to like cause a stink. He's one of the best teammates of all time. And so he's always going to do what's best for the group. But, you know, that's what it is. Oh, sure, blame the offense. Yeah, well, 2 runs, you lose. In 2 runs in regulation, you lose. You're facing the Pirates. It wasn't Skeens, it wasn't Keller, it wasn't Chandler. You gotta hit a little bit. That's all. So it's everybody's fault, but I can't put anything on the manager here. The problem with Sean was that he was supposed to be the long man. He only pitched 1 1/3 innings, kind of the reason the Mets lost, forcing them to use Lovelady in the 10th. Well, once it became the 10th inning, it's a little bit of a different situation. You have the ghost runner, well, the free runner. We shouldn't call him a ghost runner. Somebody's got to pitch in that spot. You can't chase every game. There's a lot to it. All right. I am well, I talked a little bit about his hair and mustache yesterday on the stream. But all right, one more Mets question here. And then we'll move on to something else that happened yesterday. Maybe we should even watch a little bit of Emerson Hancock. He was unreal in the game I was at. All right, it was very cold at City yesterday. I was there. City feels colder than the thermometer. How did this affect McLean or Manaea? Probably didn't affect them a whole lot, unless your hand is like super cold and it's dry and you can't get a grip on the ball. That could be an effect. But in terms of the actual temperature, not much of an effect on pitchers. Pitchers have an ability to get warm and stay warm. It's worse for the hitters that have to stand out there in the cold. I think that's the biggest thing. What do we got to do to get you more airtime on the broadcast? I don't know. I thought I got a lot of airtime yesterday. Benetti really hooked me up, so I think we're headed in the right spot, in the right. You know, I'm happy. I just want to keep doing good. All right. Anyway, let's watch Nimmo destroy a ball against the Phillies. Sure. Brandon Nimmo, my guy, who's not mad at me. This is great. Brandon Nimmo, turn away, Mets fans. I know you still love him deep down. Deep down, we know you still love Brandon. And he does what he does against the Phillies. Starting this off with a 2-run jack left on Luzardo. Bang, first pitch sweeper. Nimmo's smart enough to go up there and hunt a breaking ball too early when they know his guys are going to dump him in there. 103.7 at 30. You know, he's become such more of a power hitter over time. I wish that he was still. I wish he could do both. I wish he could do his on-base routine and then also tap into his power. That would make him the elite player that he could maybe potentially reach. But he has settled into this version where there's some level of on-base percentage, but a lot more power now. And I don't know. It's pretty cool to see a guy hit bombs. Great job sitting on a first pitch breaking ball there and not missing it. Gotta love Brandon. Just a little golden retriever running around the bases. All right, so he came through. Also in this game, the other OG, McCutchen, 3-run home run off Luzardo. Let's watch this whole at-bat. It's crazy because I feel like Kutch signed like a week ago, and he's already playing. You know?
Great career.
Any fun stories warming up in the Phillies bullpen? No. I mean, they do try to talk a lot of mierda out there, and it's to be expected, as they should. Sometimes they try to get a little hostile, but for the most part, I kind of enjoy that sort of thing. I remember one game, one of my nastiest games of my career, when I was with the Red Sox, where somebody did say something that got me going a little bit, and then I went out there and struck out the side, had a little more anger, and then it kind of occurred to me that maybe they should talk more shit to me. Anyway, here's McCutchen turning on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Now, in his prime, similar to like a Mookie or an Arenado or trying to think who else. So Bregman can be incredibly quick inside, and that's what you see here from McCutchen. pitch middle in. He's just so early on it. He lasers it down the line for a home run. 3-run shot. That won the game for Texas. So the two of the guys they acquired, Nimmo in the big trade and McCutchen in the last minute, come through with 2 home runs off Luzardo. I'm sure the Phillies fans are also booing their team extremely loud to match the Mets. I also love McCutchen's little hat tip thing he does when he comes home. I think that's like a Jackie Robinson thing or something, but always thought that was very classy and very cool. So we'll give him his flowers for that. And the Rangers end up winning that series, even though DeGrom got scratched. Still has quick hands, but in his prime, they were unreal. I mean, I think they were the best. I think they were the best, fastest hands. I used to hate facing him because I knew middle in was a no-fly zone. So now I got to dot everything away. And in his prime, he didn't chase, and he could go the other way with authority, especially at Coors. So we just kind of pitched around him a lot with the Pirates back in the day and went after Marte or whoever, Polanco or whoever was up next. No. Nemo's not mad at me. For a moment, I thought he was because, like, I talked a little bit about how he was maybe a little annoyed about, not being in the captain conversation, or that he was a very proud Met and that he wasn't going to like the chatter of him being on the trade block. But then all those things turned out to be real. I wasn't wrong about anything. And he wrote me and he's like, dude, I've just been a whirlwind. But of course, I'm not mad at you. Like, I love you. You're great. So I was like, all right, perfect. All right, what else we got here? Next time, got to pack the B and C blanket out there. You're right. Totally. Did you ever catch a home run in the bullpen mid-game? Not really my thing. Some guys go out there and try to catch it with their glove or their hat. Not really. It was never really my thing. I used to call a lot of home runs, but I never would run out there and catch them. I'm a Nimmo-loving Met fan. The dude renovated his Florida home to host gatherings with his Met teammates. I mean, it's true. He really took his leadership role seriously. Always was a great guy for the show dinners, and I don't know, just a great guy. He's a golden retriever. He's a guy with a great heart. At the end of the day, McCutchen had to cheat to get to that pitch. Yeah, he did. He did have to cheat to get to that pitch. All right. What else from yesterday? What else? I'm trying to remember what happened all in yesterday's games. If there was anything interesting, we could watch Casey walk it off. Rockies, Marlins, little comeback in the 9th for the Marlins, who are now 3-0. The Miami Marlinos, Victor Vodnik. So we'll skip the 8th inning. We'll go to the 9th inning. Actually, he gets a double play. So 2 outs in the 9th, nobody on, and then this happens. First up, Javier Sanoa facing 100-mile-an-hour Victor Vodnik of Mexico, WBC.
More than 1 inning.
Ooh, and then gets a cutter, slashes it out to left. Oh, my God. Is that a bad route? Or did he just get straight up burned by that ball? 98-4 off the bat, so he didn't hit it that bad, but not that great either. What do you guys think? Bad route. Doesn't cut the angle deep enough, and by the time he realizes, it's too late. Initial movement is diagonal, not back. God, man, the Rockies they're that close to a victory. They don't get it, and that's going to get Owen Casey up to the plate.
Oh, he can't get it.
Unbelievable. All right, first pitch changeup. Non-competitive, which means he can stay on the heater, and I bet he gets a heater. No, he gets a changeup again.
Rockies trying to salvage the series. Casey swings.
Oh, just right into his barrel. And a walk-off home run. And I love the teal jerseys, by the way. Petition for the Marlins to keep their teal jerseys. 107.9 at 21. This is sort of what Owen Casey, I'm still trying to figure that out. Big Red, as you might want to call him. I think this is kind of what he's all about as a player. He just has dumb, donkey, natural power. Man, it's tough to be a Rocky sometimes. You're trying to salvage one game out of this series. You basically have it, and then in a 3-pitch span, you get walked off by the Marlins. Man, tough go over there sometimes. All right. So Quintana pitched. Herget and Senzatella, big time out of the pen. Interesting. For Miami, what'd they go? Meyer, How deep did Meyer go? 5 innings. Phillips, King, Peterson. Okay, well, Marlins 3-0 though. Marlins 3-0. Okay, back to the chat. I think the bullpen in T-Mobile is the best in MLB from a fan perspective. Which bullpen did you think was the best for experiencing the game? It's one of the best in the league, no doubt, the Seattle bullpen. Favorite bullpens in the league. Milwaukee's pretty good. Visiting bullpen, great view from there. Padres is a fun bullpen. You're kind of far away, but you're kind of within the crowd, and there's good vibes out there. I like the new Blue Jays bullpen a lot. Got 2 levels. Got a lot of space for activities. Oh, Okamoto, first home run. Okay, we'll take a quick detour to watch Kazuma Okamoto, one of my new favorite players, who looks like he's transitioned quite well to Major League life in the early going. Him and Murakami. Here's Okamoto's first career home run versus Luis Morales. Okay, first pitch, sweeper. Ball 1. Second pitch, 4-seam, and he's going to take him oppo taco. Beautiful. Beautiful swing. He's just a really good hitter. That's 110.4 to the oppo gap. I think a lot of people swung and missed on Okamoto this year. I think a lot of people could have outbid the Jays. This guy can really hit. Like, he can really, really hit. He's got a 2-strike approach, and he's got power to all fields. I mean, yeah, this is a center cut, great pitch to hit, but the fact that he demolished it with ease, oppo, very good sign for Jays fans. And his swing is simple, and that's why I think he's got a very good chance to be consistent. All right, there's the first home run from Okamoto. I'm not going to do Imai because I'm going to make a video on Imai today, and I'll post that up on Watching because, you know, it's his debut, so we have to give him the full treatment. Adam, did the umbrella actually help you last night? Looked really wet. A little bit. The rain was coming through behind me. You know, in Seattle, they just have the roof. They don't have a full enclosure, so it was freezing out there. It was like upper 30s, low 40s, and the rain was coming in like sideways from behind me, and it was kind of spitting on me. But it was more so just like my feet were cold, my hands were numb. It was just colder than I expected. Hey, you.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
You fixing my hair?
Oh.
What, it's bad?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. What, do you have hair stuff in your hair?
Yes.
Thanks. You get the car all settled?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I got my stylist here. Okay, it's better.
Much better.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Whoa, Sanchez in this game homered. They're saying short swing. All right, we'll check in on that. My guy, Jesus, also homers off of Morales. All right, let's watch the whole at-bat. So his big issue with this guy is another guy that, you know, now he's with his 3rd organization. He has all the tools to be a monster at the plate in terms of exit velo, but he does have a pretty long swing. Has really shown that he's yet to make an adjustment at the big league level. I would hope that maybe being with Toronto, he could make that adjustment. And he gets to go swing 3-0 here. 3-0, dead red on a fastball. I mean, he's got stupid pop. Stays through that ball really nice. 109-2 to center. And that's what the Jays are banking on. Like, he's got huge potential with the bat in terms of pop. If they can shorten up the stroke a little bit, eliminate a little bit of the swing and miss, help him make adjustments, help him have more than one swing in his bag. There's a really good offensive player in here. As you can clearly see with this swing, this is a pretty impressive swing. He really stayed through that ball nicely. Didn't pull off it at all. Just sitting dead red on a fastball. Numero 12. Jesus Sanchez. Former Toro with me. All right, let me skip ahead a little bit here. From the Astros Angels, Imai's debut was pretty rough. He was almost afraid to throw fastballs to seam, but then he started having major control issues. I'm going to check it out. The video should be short. He only lasted not even 3 innings, so I should be able to do the whole watching in like 15 minutes. But I'm gonna do that right after this if I have a little. I'll have a little time today before I have some other calls to make. Sacramento, I heard, had the best bullpen. Yuck. I mean, you're like out there by the crowd, but there's like nowhere to escape. I don't know. Not for me. Big Oak. I like that name for Okamoto. I'm not gonna watch Lauer yet. Sorry, guys. He needs to impress me a little more before I dive in on him. Ayo, tell her to pack your coat and gloves next trip. You know, I pack my own shit. Sometimes she helps me out. Should have packed that blanket. Does Brett do your hair and makeup every game now that you're an official broadcaster? Kinda. You know, she likes to make sure her guy looks good. Did I see any of Sproat's start yesterday? How can he come out strong his next turn on the mound? All right, let's watch. I just had the idea in my head a second ago. Who is it? Oh, Murakami. Let's watch Murakami for a little bit. Even though the White Sox got absolutely blasted by the Brewers, Murakami homered in all 3 games. We watched the first 2. I'm gonna watch every at bat of this game of Murakami. All right, let's just do a Murakami check-in. He does punch out 3 times and he homers, so let's kind of see what the differences are. All right, Sproat on the mound, former Metro, traded for Peralta, on the mound for the Brewers, making his Brewers debut, facing Murakami. So sinker. I would think sinker would be a bad pitch to Murakami personally, but let's see. Here's a 96-mile-an-hour cutter, so exceptional velo on that cutter. Cutter again. Good pitch to hit, but he's under it. I gotta watch this guy a little more, Murakami. It seems like a simple swing, but he moves his hands quite a bit to get him into the slot sometimes.
He goes, swing and a foul.
Cutter, foul ball. And then he's going to walk him on this sinker. Sprout's still throwing gas, though, 98.5. So Murakami with the walk there. Second at bat, this is going to be the homer, I believe. All right, first pitch, curveball, ball. Second pitch, sinker. Under that sinker. Good pitch to hit. I think he's just late. Also, I think he would have got that off the end. Okay. Yeah, he drops his hands kind of behind him, right? You see that, Jody? That's what I'm kind of looking at. Ooh, is Cody Ponce debuting today for the Jays? Because if so, I'll do a video on him too. And I got Andrew Painter getting ready to do a video on him once he debuts. Should be tomorrow. All right, so 2-2 count here. Cutter up in. Still kind of under everything. Now, earlier when we watched some of his at-bats, it looked to me like he was definitely trying to learn how to be a little bit flatter. But under the ball in this game. And then here comes the home run. Cutter. I mentioned this cutter is a bad idea to him. Especially missing down in. He hits them really high. He hasn't fully gotten into a ball yet. Like he's hit a couple wall scrapers, but really high ones. 38 degrees at 102.1 for his 3rd home run of the series. But you got to be careful throwing him anything middle down, like any typical power hitter in the modern game. But man, he hits them freaking high. So good for him, getting off to a hot start. All right, let's watch the other at-bats where he punches out every time. Because I'm curious what they get him on and what it looks like. Anderson, you would think this would be a good matchup for Murakami, but we'll see. Maybe not the changeup. Changeup could be an antidote for him with this matchup.
Brewers stay home to take on the Rays.
What are the key things you're trying to pick up with a new hitter that has limited ABs? Yeah, so usually I look at like what's their load, what's their timing mechanism, can that be messed with? That's the first. Wow, he just takes the sinker for strike 3. Weird take there. So what's their timing mechanism? What's their swing path of their A swing? Some guys that's their path the whole time. But for me, it's like wow. Thank you for. Did you just donate me money, Brett? Brett, you just give me money? You're so silly. Oh, okay.
So far, the Brewers bullpen.
All right, so 0-2, left on left. Koenig guarantees never seen a lefty with a 97-mile-an-hour sinker in Japan, so he just gets frozen on that back door. That's fine. And then this is also like he's never seen a pitcher like this either. Well, not often at least. This guy's a freaking monster. Big Drip's brother, bigger Drip. Curveball, curveball. He definitely has swing and miss below the zone. I mean, this is a nightmare matchup for any lefty, really. Screaming four-seamer and then a banger curveball. So Murakami just gets overwhelmed there. Got kind of dominated all 3 of those at-bats. What's this shit? I don't know what this is. I'll have to forward that to somebody at NBC afterwards. If he's bigger Drip, he should be called the Waterfall. Oh, God. Maybe. But he's a tough matchup for anybody, obviously. He's insane. He has to move his hands so much to get on plane. It just seems like sometimes he drops his hands a little bit early in his setup, and that's costing him a couple milliseconds there. So it's been a mixed bag. I mean, we've seen some of the concerns. A lot of swing and miss in his game. Velocity speeds him up. Changeup looks pretty good. He'll chase breaking balls below the zone. But it's about plate discipline and about not missing those mistakes. On the plus side, he's hit 3 home runs, so he hasn't missed too many mistakes. But it's interesting to see. I mean, I think he's actively working to do this, but it's probably a little bit uncomfortable for him. All right, so that's it for Murakami. You want to watch the Colson Montgomery Grand Salami? We watched Colson Montgomery the other day, and I noted that because he's so tall in his stance, the top of the zone's even more hard for him to hit, but his swing is designed to smash pitches middle down. And that's a first pitch cutter grand slam from Sproat. So Sproat's outing started as bad as it could start. Before he got an out, he already gave up 4 runs. I've been there. I've done that. Not a great feeling. But this is like the White Sox have something brewing with their core offensively. Montgomery hits tanks. 103.6 at 30, right over towards that 4-runner. All right, so I wanted to do that real quick. What is this emoji that you're doing, my love? What is going on? I thought the White Sox should have signed Giolito. Ooh, bigger Drip Venti. Like he's the Venti. Because he is bigger than Big Drip, which is crazy to say. You know, it really is. I see this thing about Fisher. Perhaps. Ayo, who do you think can be the surprise team of the year? Is it the Marlins? Probably not. I don't know if we're in for any crazy surprises this year, to be honest. I had it being the A's for a bit, but I don't know if they have enough pitching. So you got to look for like Marlins, Angels, maybe. I guess the Pirates would still qualify. One of those 3 teams could maybe pop. Of course, Brett, you know, we're Yankees homers, right? So Yankees, they're not even a surprise. They're always the favorite kid. All right. So wait, what do we want to look at? Braydon Fisher of the Jays. Was that a request? So this is the classic righty that's really a lefty guy, because his game plan is basically everything to get lefties out. He's come out of this season pretty good so far in his first 2 outings. You know, when you have fastball with a little bit of perceived cut, then you have a slider, a gyro in the middle, and a curveball straight down, lets you play the north-south game. You're going to be able to get in on the hands of lefties at times and get above the barrel. That's his game plan. So even though he's a righty, it's kind of similar to your Savage. It's a very high arm angle, 49 degrees, driving downhill. Hard to distinguish his fastball plane from his breaking ball plane. They kind of deviate late. That's what makes him, you know, pretty much effective. So let's watch his last outing, and I'll give you a little heads up on why I think he's pretty good and why I think he's pretty important for the Jays. He's also, you know, really good at coming in with guys on base, not easily rattled. So this is a good guy to have. Farland can't do it every time. All right, first up is a righty Rooker. First pitch slider, second pitch slider, third pitch slider. Rooker had a tough series. And this is just a little bit of a, just a small slider that looks like his fastball. Now, part of the way he throws so high is look at this drop step in his delivery. I mean, look at his energy's going this way, and yet you have to throw the ball this way. So he does that so he can hike his arm up. You see a lot of guys do that, but his is particularly interesting. And then from there, he's just trying to run everything straight with either stuff coming down or kind of deviating. And not deviating and flying straight through, and it's kind of hard to differentiate that. So first batter, 3-pitch punch out of Rooker. Next up is Soderstrom. This is really his jam, is the lefties. And you can see why, because he creates a different angle than most righties. The ball's coming straight over the top, allows him to get up, down. Good example here, first pitch banger to Soderstrom, gets the swing and miss. Now he's going to go second pitch banger. 0-2. Now he can do anything he wants. He can go curveball on the plate after that. He can go four-seam up. Bunch of different things he can do here. Four-seam, they go up with it. Way too high. Now he goes slider. Slider is basically just a faster version of his curveball. So I like that he has 2 different versions of the same pitch. That can work. And then back to the curveball, gets the chopper. I love straight up and down curveballs, right on left or left on right, because they get a lot of that type of contact. Just a chopper in the ground. Just chopper in the ground contact, you're not going to give up any damage like that. So that's pretty nice. All right, next up is Mr. Wilson. First pitch slider for a ball. So basically he's spamming sliders right on right. This is the 6th consecutive slider. Ooh, I totally jacked that up. Let me go back to Wilson. Yeah, another slider. So 6 consecutive sliders right on right. And every single one of them has been effective. Wilson kind of jams himself on that for an out. Now he's going to get Muncie, another slider. Let's see how many sliders in a row he can throw to righties. I bet you he throws another one. Yep. So now we're at 8 in a row. So if you're a righty, you got to go up there hunting slider based off 8 in a row. And then the idea would be to hunt something that pops right here, so it ends up down the middle. Anything on the outer rail, you gotta let go, and I think that's what Muncie does here and why he takes this. No, I did not order breakfast. I know Davis is awake. I did not order breakfast. There's the curveball. Slider again. So no fastballs right on right yet, but the slider is really messing people up, and then he's going to do it again. I didn't order breakfast yet.
Absolute charge and would have run through anyone to catch it.
Slider again. Oh, finally a fastball to a righty. He also has enough velocity to make this play. He wants to throw his breaking pitches, but he also has enough velocity to make this work. Slider there. Slider again. A bad challenge. Slider again. Fouled off. Curveball. Once you get swing action on the slider, you go curveball to try to mess with the timing. Wow. Emergency hack. Look at this emergency hack. Yep. He's like, I'm buckled, and then, oh shit, I gotta hit it. And then he does. How do you do that? And then he's gonna punch him with the four-seam. So finally, he's gonna locate a four-seam up here. Yeah. Dominant outing. Dominant outing. You can see why he's good. The slider must look like the fastball. The arm angle plays in on it. If he gets swing action on the slider, he can go to the curveball. If he gets take action, he can go to the fastball. If he gets foul ball, he can read whether they're early or late and plan accordingly. So it makes a lot of sense. What's up?
Breakfast, food. How long are you on here for?
I'm probably going to get off in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
But breakfast? I mean, it's 11:20.
What happened to you ordering?
I didn't know what he wanted. You want to order him something?
Just carry on.
All right, I will carry on. All right, so that's it for what's his name? Who I just looked at. Yeah, we watched Fluharty take the comebackers the other day. That was kind of interesting. Could the Giants be the surprise team in that it's way worse? I'm not going to jump to conclusions on the Giants yet. They could be okay. White Sox had the best offseason of the year. They're building something there. I think they are too, but they're not going to be great this year. They don't have enough pitching. Breakfast is just the first time you eat during the day. It doesn't have to be eggs and pancakes. That's what they say in the chat.
Well, Archer eats penny bolognese, so.
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
He eats a bolognese in the morning.
Oh, everyone's calling.
All right, let's check one more thing maybe. It's got to be something else that we missed here. Something fun. I mean, Emerson Hancock is worth watching because he just decided to completely flip to four-seam guy out of nowhere. Obviously, this was Sunday Night Baseball last night. I mean, he throws 51 four-seamers. That's like, he was like mainly sinker with some four-seam before. It was four-seam, sinker, then changeup. Instead, yesterday, I mean, it was sinker, changeup, then four-seam. And now yesterday he goes to four-seam sweeper, even though he faced all these lefties. But that upshoot four-seam was insane. He freaking dominated with this thing. It was crazy to watch. So I'm sure a lot of you guys probably tuned in to this game a little bit, but I just want to recap it for a second because Emerson Hancock, maybe he learned a little something from Castillo. I feel like there's some similarities there with the arm slot. Who'd they play? Cleveland. But interesting that he came out with a totally new approach. So I'm just going to skip forward to some of the punch-outs because they're mostly on four seams up. And this is a great demonstration of what vertical approach angle does for you. I'm going to go over here to his induced vertical break. I mean, 12.9, absolutely not exceptional, but for 18-degree arm angle, actually pretty good. And then he throws he throws straight up. Look at that ball rise. So I came into this game, and it's probably my fault that I didn't go check his spring training mix. But I had studied a lot on Hancock based on last season. I watched what he did versus Cleveland in his two starts last year. We actually shoved, and it was a ton of sinkers and changeups. And then about the third inning yesterday's game, I'm like, oh, shit, he's a new guy. He's throwing four-seamers. And then we just had to learn about that really quick, and it was a hell of an adjustment because he didn't have swing and miss in his game before. The whiff rate's one of the lowest of any qualified starter. So this is going to level him up a little bit. And you can see he's just absolutely roasting these guys up in the zone. Here's Bo Naylor. And they're nowhere near that. And you can just see it's the angle. Watch it rise. He just gets above the bat and just overwhelms them. Not to mention he came out with a little bit more velocity too. So that's what the Mariners need, is just more good pitchers, you know? All right, here's one on a sweeper. This is the other pitch that was kind of new to him. Raleigh almost doesn't catch it. But the reason why I kind of like this pairing is because they're polar opposites, you know, both in speed and in movement. So sometimes, when you just pair two opposites, it's really hard for the batter. They have to make a choice. When they have to make a choice, they're going to guess wrong a lot. All right, Kafis. This is also a fastball up. Also, Stephen Vogt, one of the coolest dudes ever. Fastball up and away. Smelia. Jose Ramirez. I mean, you're blowing heaters by Jose Ramirez. Your heater's doing something. I mean, Jose's reaction to this is like, I missed this heater? He can't believe it. Now he's checking the board. What exactly was that? You know? That's when you know you got a pretty good heater. All right, here's a called strike looking on a sinker. So he only used the sinker a little bit, and I thought he was really strategic of when he used it. This was a great call right here. He's been spamming four-seamers and sweepers. You throw a sinker, starts off in. You get the freeze. Once he starts doing this consistently off of his four-seam, he's going to be insane. Like, he actually might be really leveled up. So Hancock showed me a lot yesterday. Bow nailer for the second time on a four-seam. I mean, that's middle down, and it just beats him. And then there's one more strikeouts on a sweeper to Arias. This one's pretty nasty. This one comes out of the perfect lane right on right for the finish. So I was really impressed with him. I came into the game thinking, I know he had success the last 2 times, but facing an all-lefty lineup, well, 8 lefties at least, and 1 righty lineup, it's going to be really hard for him with this sinker changeup mix. I don't see this going particularly well, especially if he can't command anything. But then he completely flipped the script on me and went straight four-seam love, at the top of the zone, and just straight up dominated everybody. So credit to Hancock. I think he looks at that team a little bit and he's like, I wanna be a regular starter on this team. I don't want to be overshadowed by the other guys. I need to make some adjustments. Let's learn from the other guys. And he did that. I'm curious what the stuff grades are. Because I bet you the stuff grade on the four seam's pretty good. Yeah, 102. 102. 102 stuff grade at 93.5, which means it's really about that VAA. Negative 4.5 VAA is quite good. Very flat at the top. Sweeper 105. The sinker, which he threw sparely, is a 103. And we already know about his changeup. He only threw a few of these cutter pitches, but a little bit of a level up for Hancock. A little bit of a level up for Mr. Hancock. So, I mean, the Mariners, they've always had so much pitching. But, Miller's not even back yet. Castillo hasn't even debuted yet. Cade Anderson's waiting in the wings. They already have Gilbert, Kirby. We know about Wu. Wu's another guy he can learn from with the low slot upshoot. Wu and Castillo in particular. But this guy was a 6th overall pick. So if this guy hits 2 and starts coming into his own this year, the Mariners have even more pitching, even more reason to definitely believe in them as the #1 team in their division. Anyway, it's one start. I don't want to overreact to it, but he made tangible mistakes there. Hancock saw your analysis of him yesterday in the live show and said, "You're wrong. You don't know anything about me." He did. He got my ass. And I look unprepared, but that was a hell of a pivot by him. And we caught it on the fly, at least. That's why I have to be locked in on all these pitches. I never know when Jason's going to come to me. So I have to say, hey, you know what? He's doing some new shit out here. And I think that's pretty interesting to see in real time. Any thoughts on starting pitchers to go from the stretch all the time opposed to the usual windup? I mean, when you have one delivery, it's a little easier to stay consistent with it, and that's why guys generally like it out of the bullpen, and some guys do it in the rotation. I don't have a problem with it. It's quirky, but if it helps you execute better, then why not? Is Hancock similar to Castillo with the angle helping his pitches? I think so, yes. For me, yes. Let's do a quick comparison of the arm slots. So this will be my last thing. We'll do probables for tonight. Emerson's at 18 degrees. Castillo is at 15 degrees, so very comparable, only 3 degrees off. What about Wu? I think Wu's like 25. 25, yeah. So Wu's a little bit higher, but he gets a little bit lower in his legs, and so it's the same effect. It's the same upshoot effect. So they have 3 guys on their team that have naturally great sinkers, but now they're using their VAA upshoot effect to their advantage. So I don't know, pretty cool that's where we're at now in pitching. Years ago, they would have never really recommended a guy like that to throw up in the zone because they would have looked at his IVB and they would have said this is a bad idea. But it's not a bad idea. It's a good freaking idea, and guys are taking advantage of that. All right, one more thing quickly in the chat, and then I will go through the probables for tonight. Stretch without men on base is dumb. Why do you feel that way? I mean, what if it just helps the pitcher execute? I know it's not as aesthetically pleasing as a guy with a classic windup, but I don't know. I think, to each their own in this situation. I kept thinking during the broadcast last night, would it be cool to have you use the dugout software for some analysis? Would MLB allow that? So I have the dugout with me the whole time, but no, they're not going to do video with me because it's the pace of the broadcast now is a lot quicker. So they're coming to me quickly, and they may build a quick replay package. But it's not really built into our broadcast for me to like sit there and break things down on the Dugout app. We'll do that on my show. Had an idea while watching the Bucknor lowlights. If you win an ABS challenge, you should get your challenge back and an additional challenge. I don't know. I like the way it is now because it puts a little risk in your mind if you're going to do it or not, which makes it that much more exciting. The scarcity makes it more exciting. All right, let's do probables. Thanks for everybody hanging with me this morning. It's been good to get back home. And, we'll get on the normal routine this week of our morning shows throughout the week. Hopefully we get some great baseball this week. All right, Twins at Royals. Royals getting their home opener here at the new stadiums where they moved in. Simeon Woods Richardson and they moved in the fences, I should say. Simeon Woods Richardson and Chris Bubich. Rangers Orioles Jack Leiter's season debut versus Chris Bassett's season debut from Camden. Pretty good pitching matchup there. Young guy versus an OG. Pirates Reds. Chase Burns making his season debut. Let's see how he looks. He had a little bit of arm fatigue, I believe, in midway through spring this year, but he's electric. Ashcraft, another one of the young, good Pirates starters. Nats and Phillies, Foster Griffin, Nationals debut, and Taiwan Walker. Classic NL East matchup. White Sox, Marlins, Davis, Martin, and Chris Paddock. Marlins looking to go 4-0. Paddock making his Marlins debut. Rockies, Jays, Sugano making his Rockies debut in Toronto versus Cody Ponce making his Blue Jays debut. Might make a video on Ponce. It seems like there's some desire for that, so I don't have a problem doing that. Jacob Lopez and Bryce Elder, A's at Braves. I've mentioned the Braves. Their rotation is very much not scary after Sale anymore with Schwellenbach down and some of the others. Angels, Cubs, Ryan Johnson, who's now a starter. Interesting. He's got a weird-ass delivery. And Edward Cabrera, the man who doesn't throw fastballs. I think that was a great pickup for the Cubs. So curious to watch him in his Cubs debut. Nick Martinez of the Rays and Kyle Harrison of the Brewers. Harrison came over in the Durbin trade from the Red Sox. He's been bouncing around. He's going to get a good opportunity here with the Brewers. Mets at Cardinals. Clay Holmes on the bump versus Kyle Leahy. Clay Holmes, to me, in the 2 innings that he threw, I know it was against a lesser team in WBC, but his pitches looked incredible. He was impeccable. I expect to see filth from him all year. It's just a matter of, can he become a guy that goes deep into the games consistently? Sox, Astros, Ranger Suarez, Red Sox debut in Houston versus McCullers. First opening day roster he's been on in a while because of the injuries. This is a classic matchup now. It's, semi-rivalry, Red Sox, Astros over the years. Ranger Suarez making his debut. Giants, Padres, classic NL West matchup here. Landon Roop and Walker Buehler making his Padre debut. Yankees at Mariners. Ryan Weathers making his Yankees debut versus there he is, Luis Castillo. I saw Castillo got pushed back to face the Yankees. So 2 of the best teams in the AL going at it from a very cold, not Safeco, but T-Mobile Park. Tigers, Diamondbacks. Justin Verlander is back with the Tigers, and he pitches today in Arizona versus Soroka. Soroka, who I thought looked pretty good in that Canada-USA game. Got a little bit of a raw deal, but overall you can see the stuff has definitely changed with him over the years. Interesting signing for the Diamondbacks. And then our final game of the night is the Guardians' Parker Messick facing Roki Sasaki. Roki Sasaki, who had absolute hellacious nightmare spring training, but they still have the ability to run him out there in starts. So let's see how he looks today, see if he can lock it in, see if he can get out of his own way, see if he can throw strikes, see if he implements his third pitch, etc. He's another fascinating name to watch. Almost guaranteed we'll be tracking him on the stream tomorrow. So, all right, keep an eye out for the Amai video. I'll post that later today. It should be short and sweet. And then Cody Ponce probably also later today. If I have time, I'll do his video as well. So keep an eye out for those. Thanks for hanging with me all day, all morning today. Thanks for all the support with the broadcasting stuff. Really appreciate that. Hope everybody's good. Let's have a great Monday and get this week off to a good start. So thanks so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good day, everybody. See you guys later.